how do I cut expenses when my revenue has fallen? And so I think there's a lot of us who are here, even if your revenue falls by 25%. I've seen a lot of people talk about their revenue falling as much as 50%. And so it's very scary times for a lot of people that are, private practice owners, business owners, or employees or independent contractors. It impacts us both professionally and personally when our income is cut and when our revenue is down and when there's really sort of like not an end point for this. So, I'm in Florida, I'm a Floridian. And so this feels very similar to when we have hurricanes, right? So we spend about a week beforehand panicking, buying supplies, getting gas, getting cash, really preparing for this storm. We put up our shutters and then, the hurricane hits and then we spend about a week rebuilding and then things are back to normal pretty quickly. And so with what's going on right now, we don't have an end game. And so I know a lot of people are feeling really scared about that. And I'm feeling scared too, just to really empathize with all of you out there watching this today. Like, we're all wondering what is going to happen to our businesses. Not everybody has reserves. I get that. Not everybody has money saved up. And so it's really important for us to cut some expenses right now. So let's talk about how you can do that. I think that you need to make a priorities list for your business and find out what's really a priority right now and kind of move to the same kind of language like essential versus non-essential, right? So what's essential? What do you need to run your practice? What has to be there? What cannot be taken out? Like, for instance, your malpractice insurance. Please pay your malpractice insurance. That can't go. You may need to still pay rent in 2 weeks, right? So that's coming up. You might still need to pay your employees for now, especially if they're working, even if they're doing telehealth. So I would recommend that you make a priorities list, an essentials list, like the things that you must pay, and then make a non-essentials list, right? Things like, so the very first thing I did Monday morning when I walked into my office, I went into my office on Monday, saw some patients, got some things squared away, hunkered down the office and wasn't prepared just to say, okay, I'm not going for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is. So went into the office, turned off my Google AdWords. And actually one of my contractors asked me about that. She's like, why did you turn off the AdWords? And I'm like, because that's non-essential right now. Like, if people are looking for us, they'll find us, but AdWords right now, not essential. So sorry, Google, we turned off your revenue source right now. But it's not non-essential. And actually for us, like, building up clientele right now is really not our priority. Our main priority is servicing our current client load, transitioning everybody to telehealth and retaining as many of those people as possible, and really making accommodations for our clients. We don't want to drive a lot of intakes in right now because then we'd have to do a lot of intakes via telehealth. And while that might be good from a revenue standpoint, it's not really good for us personally, for weeding out people, screening people, understanding, what kinds of people are, what services that they need. If we need to bake our people, it just starts to look a little bit differently. So for me, priority is not to drive a new business right now. Now, maybe next week when I do another live, that might be different, but right now that is not a priority. There's a couple of other things like, one of the women in my office was like, hey, we need snacks. And I said, I love you all, but like snacks are not a priority. Probably like closing down. This was last week when this happened. I'm like, when I started to see this happening, I'm like, we're not getting snacks. Like, you're on your own for snacks this week. So I haven't ordered any supplies. The supplies that we have are the supplies that are there. We removed our coffee machine from the front, both for hygiene purposes, but also like it's a cost cutting method. And so I think it's really important that you go through, create a values list for your, goals list for your company. What are your goals right now? So you may actually have to increase some of your expenses if you're looking for a telehealth option, especially since some of the free telehealth options have crashed. A lot of people may not be used to using FaceTime because of the HIPAA laws have been suspended. Not everybody wants to use FaceTime. And, a lot of boards are coming out and saying like, yes, like while federally, they said HIPAA is suspended, locally, we want you to still use, HIPAA compliant methods. And so a lot of people are looking for that. So if your goal is to move everybody to telehealth, then yes, that's an expense that you need to add, but maybe there's an expense that you can cut within your business. So let's talk about personnel. So I have a, full-time phone person, an admin person. And so this week I reduced her hours on Thursday and Friday because the call flow reduced. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at what percentage we reduced this week. So I'm going to compare last week to this week. So if we had 200 sessions last week and we only had 150 sessions this week, we had a reduction of 25%. So I'm going to reduce my admin's hours by 25% for next week. And so that way she is also just feeling what the rest of the business is feeling, what the rest of the practice is feeling. And then I'm just going to put something up on the phone system that says, hi, we're sorry. We're, only answering calls between 9 and 3 or something like that. And so we all will have to make adjustments in our business. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, TherapyNotes. If you are looking for an electronic health record at this time, especially if you're looking to transition from paper records, right, that's not going to really be an option right now, definitely want to look at TherapyNotes. You can do everything that you need to do to run your practice from a paperwork standpoint, from a billing standpoint. You can send your claims electronically if you're an insurance-based practice, which is really great right now. Especially if you maybe were sending paper claims before, you can do everything you need to do through TherapyNotes. So be sure to check them out. So going back to reducing expenses, I want you to take a look at what all of your expenses were from last month. I want you to see what can be cut, and then I want you to start making those calls. You can also ask for discounts from places. Call them, say, listen, in 1 week, my revenue dropped by 50%. I need a reduction. And I think a lot of people are willing to make accommodations. Nothing has really been ruled out yet in terms of, mortgages if you have one on your place or rent. There might be some accommodations that are going to be coming down maybe for business owners around rental payments, because that tends to be one of the highest cost for a practice. So I just want you to stay calm, know that we're all in this together. We're all feeling a reduction for the most part in revenue. We're all having to cut expenses. We're here. We will talk about this in my group, my private practice collective. We'll share ideas on what we're doing to, save money, transitioning fully to telehealth, and just know that this too shall pass. We don't know exactly when it will pass, but it will. And one great thing about mental health is once this does pass, I believe that our doors will be flooded. So know that this won't last forever. I'm here. I'm doing a few more lives right now. One, because I have the time, and two, because I really want to provide some support. So if you have any questions for me, please email me to Amanda@AmandaPattersonLMHC.com. Bye-bye now.